Great morning, holy brothers! We are on December 7th. What's today's date?
19th.
19th. I gotta fix that clock. December 19th, we are on Tuesday. We are in the Garden of Peace. These lessons are our pathway to peace. Yesterday we finished talking about the middle of the paragraph of 147, the mitzvah of ona'ah. Periodic conjugal relations should be done with extreme what? Joy, happiness, positivity. Don't ever be sad and depressed. Forget coming home. We already know you don't want to bring that negative energy to be bouncing off your walls in your house.
Right.
It's gonna come straight back to you and smash you. It's like a boomerang. You know, there's no way to avoid it. So besides for just coming home with that type of energy, especially when the time you're going to be with your wife, don't bring any sadness, don't bring depression, don't bring any negative. What are you doing? On the contrary, besides from not being filled with your own lust and your own physical desire, your own fire of the Yetzer Hara, you want this to be a sweet, super spiritual state together. So you should be gentle, be loving, be considerate, be happy with her. His thoughts should be uplifted and his desire to gratify his wife, to make her happy. You always, no matter where, no matter when, should be doing things that you know she likes to make her happy. That should make you happy. And I promise when she's happy, that's going to be the best, most peaceful, blissful home you can ever imagine. So, especially at the height of togetherness and physicality, how much more so does this come into play? Before the relations, one should pray to God, stop for a moment, and ask for assistance in fulfilling the mitzvah in the proper way. You know, you're about to get into bed with her, she's waiting for you. Say, Hashem, please help me not to get lost in my own lust. Please help me be able to make her happy and especially satisfied. Make her to be cloud 9, you know? Indeed, the more a husband nullifies his own lust, the more he can be patient, be involved in fulfilling his wife's desires, his wife's pleasures. In summary for this topic, on this part, one can only attain true Kedusha, true holiness, by fulfilling those obligations, conjugal sexual responsibilities, properly, in a positive manner, not by abstaining, not by holding off. I mean, most guys wouldn't dream of that, but there are some people who literally, you know, like, oh, I'm not in the mood today, or I don't think this is the right time for it, whatever it might be. A husband's job is to overcome your Yetzer Hara. Get rid of your bodily lust, chuck it out the window. Take your Yetzer Hara and throw it away. Bye! See you later. Bye-bye, Felicia. A spiritual level that one can attain by doing this, Rabbi Nachman talks about in Discourse 17, personal holiness. Shemirat Habris is the foundation of all blessings and the gate to success in this world and the next. Do not get lost. Do not run with a fire of bodily lust into things, because she's going to feel it too. Trust me. She will know when you're coming in with what your intentions you're having, and she will feel it. And it will mess up your relationship. You want to grow, you have the greatest, best opportunities right now. Don't squander it. Don't lose that moment. Got it? Chapter 7, page 149. The House of Prayer. The following story teaches us an important lesson in faith and peace in the home. Here we go. A certain young man returned to Emunah from listening to tapes of the lectures and soon began attending my lectures in person. This is Rav Shalom Arush talking. He came to my talks for a long time and did not make much headway in terms of practical observance. You know these type of people. They come to shiurim, they listen to lectures. You know, they make somewhat of an effort to get it in their head, to listen to it, to put the tapes on, to sit down, but they're not making it real. They're not living the lessons. They're only learning them. When I first found this book, I promised myself every single word that we had that was on the pages was not going to be just learned. I would live every single line of what I saw here. Okay? So anyway, this type of guy who just comes to chillax, to listen, to have his ears here, but not his mind to take it into there. There was just one thing that he connected to right away. Out of everything that we taught him, he connected to personal prayer. Dun, 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 what we learned before this. Our other shir before this year. We call it hispodidus, talking to God in your own language. Okay? So, although it wasn't apparent on the outside, he became a master of prayer. Reality, absolute, hardcore, no jokes. He would engage in hispodidus at every opportunity. You know, we're supposed to do at least 1 hour. Every time throughout the day, when he had a pause, he would talk to God about it. He would talk to God about what he did, what he wants to do, what he should do. He did hours of hispodidus every day. Hours, not just one. Although he was talking to Hashem every single day and connecting to his Creator, he still wasn't doing mitzvahs. What 101, God's commandments, how to live your life, was not doing. He was good about talking to God, praying to God, beautiful, but not acting on it. Not putting on tefillin, not keeping Shabbos, talking Lashon Hara, the mitzvahs. One night, he came up to me and told me about a girl that he just met. Although she didn't share his interest in Judaism and closeness to God, he was like in lust, head over heels about this girl. He wanted to marry her. He was ready. Let's go, get the ring. So I'd known him for some quite time. I knew he was moving slowly in the right direction. He actually bought his own pair of tefillin. He actually opened up a book of Torah once in a while. And I felt that a girl who was on the same path would be much better suited for him. So I advised him against marrying this particular girl. I said to him, why should you enter yourself into such a difficult task of a lack of communication? You have different interests with her. You're going to have tension even before you get married. You already have things that, okay, even if you love somebody and you have the same interests, a woman and a man are not the same. They're completely, totally different. So even if you're on the same path, when you enter into a relationship with a wife and you get married, when that kisuva gets signed, when you go home, oh boy, are you open for a rude awakening. How she brushes her teeth annoys you. Where she leaves the clothes. Everything that you thought you loved about her now becomes a challenge. So imagine somebody who challenges even before you get married. Crazy. He replied that although he did want to get stronger and continue on the path that he started, he couldn't ever see himself marrying a girl that wants to be religious. It's way out of his ballpark. It's not something he was comfortable with. Why should he do something which he is not happy about? So the girl really seemed right for him. He pictured himself, kids with her, being married to her, living his whole life. And he hoped it would be okay. So guess what? He did not listen to the rabbi. And he married her. So, not many days transpired after the wedding before he came knocking on my door. And guess what? He did not have a happy face on. Completely gloomy. He could not stop bursting out before he even sat down about the problems he was having with his new wife. They just weren't getting along. All she was interested in was phones, internet, Facebook, Instagram, dressing up, having a good time, and he just wasn't interested in that. He wanted to come closer to God, he wanted to talk to her, and she had a completely different perspective than him on life. He was trying to get a perspective of emunah, trying to have faith in God, trying to pray more often. And it was difficult for him to find common ground with her. They didn't have communication. They had lust, they had sex, they had all that physical things. But when it comes to spirituality, it was two totally different polar opposites. He saw her as being superficial. She's empty. All these things are meaningless. What is she wasting her life on these type of vanities for? And he loved her. But that love, every single day, got less and less and less and less. When you have a basis of physicality, that is never going to last. First of all, women, you'll see them when they're not pretty, when they don't have their makeup on. And even if they are gorgeous, guess what? As they get pregnant, their body changes. As they get older, their body changes. They start to not look so pretty anymore. And if your foundation is futility, when those things fall away, what the heck do you have left? Nothing. You have arguments, you have fight, you have strife, you have an annoying roommate who you can't stand to be with anymore. He said, "It seemed like you were right, Rabbi." He said sheepishly. "Now, what the heck do I do? Should I divorce her? Should I separate from her? Do I leave? What do I do? I'm asking your advice because I'm literally stuck. I don't know what to do anymore." So, Rabbi Arush gave him a huge, big smile, as he always does. And he said, "My friend," what do you think he's going to tell him? Where do you need to be right now?
Where do you need to be?
Where does he need to be? What do you think the rabbi's going to tell him? What do you think the rabbi's going to say? You're the rabbi. He comes to you. I finally realized my mistake. What do I do? What is the rabbi going to tell him?
The Jew.
What was to do with his wife?
The one that he...
Should he get rid of her and find a better one?
Nah, he has to adjust himself to give her everything, right? No,
I'm asking you, what about his wife who has no interest in spirituality and he knows that he married the wrong person? He knows that now.
Can he divorce her? Would he suggest divorce?
What do you think is the right approach? What did the rabbi say?
Bring her closer to Judaism somehow.
So he says, "Rabbi, should I divorce her?" Rabbi says,
No.
"No!
Right,
No way, my
against
friend."
divorce, right? Like Judaism is very sensitive to divorce.
Okay, we talked so many times about the Mizbeach. When somebody gets divorced, it literally sheds tears. It cries. Hashem has a soul. He splits it in two, puts it in the man, puts it in the woman. They're one. They're one neshama. The only way a man can be better is by looking at his wife and knowing the messages that God is showing him. She's a reflection. She's a mirror. She's the way that he knows how to improve himself.
So he has to improve himself.
So what now? Now that you screwed up, now that you didn't listen to me, the rabbi, you want a divorce? You out of your mind? She's the only thing that's going to help make your tikkun in life now. No way, my friend, he says. Before you married her, I advised you against it. I told you no. But now that you got married, the first marriage that you have is your zivug, is your Hashem would never even let them get married if it wasn't right. No matter where she is on the planet, God will bring two people together in the most miraculous ways possible. So now you got her. You're married. There's no way back. She's your zivug. This is going to be your soul correction. She is going to be your tikkun. What are you going to do now? Now you have to start your real work. Now is going to be the hard part. Now you know how to do hispodedas. You've talked to God. You spend hours a day. Get off your tuchas now and start your work.
Really quick.
Yes.
This whole zivug thing. Let's say you're secular, right?
Yes.
And
Are you Jewish? Yes.
Okay.
You have a basis already.
Right. And you get married in the secular way. No kosher witnesses, no mikveh dip. Are you still tied together or no? The soul cannot get tied until it's done in the proper way.
There are many different opinions on this. Some people like to do a second official, legal, spiritual
let's
wedding.
Say they don't do that, but are
Again,
they still tied?
There are many ways to obtain a woman, right? You can give her money. You can do the documents. They can be together and have bia or sex at night, right? If somebody gets married with an English wedding and they're together at night, their intention is to be married. Right. Their bia, their togetherness, is already literally in that realm. Right. So a lot of rabbis will say that they're married because of the action. You give her a ring, this and that. They had whatever type of witnesses, not witnesses, whatever it might be. there are ways in which many rabbis will say it's done, and they just want to solidify, just to make sure that
But
it's
is she still a vessel at that? Like, is she still a mirror?
So
Or
according to
is the
those
mirror
rabbis,
like fog?
100% yes, and that's why you should solidify it to make sure you have a proper kisuva, have a proper everything done to make sure that that's right? Because a lot of people say it's already done, so but you want to make sure it's done 100% kosher. So
it's the intimacy that seals.
one of the ways, one of the ways, That's how you can make it. Again, so you have to ask your local Orthodox rabbi, and everybody has their one who they turn to, ask from, and again, whatever they say should be done. But the bottom line is just be super careful because there might be some ways where it's already finished. Anyway, so I told the guy, now you got to start your work. You know what to do, but now you're going to do it about your wife. I told him what to pray for and how to work on your own character traits. Don't even make the slightest negative comment to your wife, ever. I don't care what she's doing. I don't care what she's spending her day all day on her phone. The way she talks, the way she dresses. Irrelevant. Means nothing now. You need to honor her. You need to give her love. Never say anything bad. Never criticize anything she's doing. Anything. You thought you have it hard. Imagine this guy's life. I encourage him to strengthen his resolve over and over and over again. This is your wife. If heaven allowed you to marry her in the first place, guess what? That's your bashert. That's your zivug. I don't care what your intentions were. You only wanted it because she was hot and she was sexy and she was lustful, and you only married her because you wanted to be with her physically. You knew she wasn't going to be spiritually good for her. You knew it. But guess what? At the end of the day, God would never have let it happen if she wasn't the one meant for you. Good? Understand that. Internalize that. This is your wife. She's your intended. She is your soul correction. She's your tikkun. It's up to you now to use your power of prayer to solve any problems that come up. That young man who was in no way lazy when it came to personal prayer, as we talked about before, he went and started working on himself in the most admirable manner. Every day, he engaged again in hours of his bodhidus. Not one, hours of his bodhidus. He asked God to help him to not make any comments to her. God, please help me not criticize her. You know what I want to say to her. You know what's going to fly out of my mouth. Please help me hold that back. Please help me honor her. Please help me make her happy in whatever way she wants to be happy in. And believe that this was for my best. And over and over again. The less negative stuff he did to her, the more positive he saw, the more she became a reflection of him because she loved him for who he was and then wanted to be like him, started getting a magnetism towards him and started having an attraction to God and an attraction because this is what she wanted. And look at that guy she has. It's amazing. Why would I not want to be closer to him and closer to what he loves? And his efforts resulted in peaceful relations with her. And the story is not over. To be continued. See you tomorrow. Hashem.